Thanks a lot, Jeremy. We are at Super Auto Center at 1400 Regent, and we're looking specifically at what the driving conditions in Winnipeg are doing to our rides. And we've got Bill Gardiner, car expert for motoring. You've been teaching me a lot about what happens sort of in this area of the car. So let's break it down, because there's a lot of phrases I think that mechanics use and we politely nod along, but we don't understand. Can we start with ball joints?
Yes, Drew, there's an upper ball joint out of a car that I replaced a ball joint in a few weeks ago. Now there's the upper ball joint in this light duty truck, and you can see the relationship of where it is in the vehicle. Now this one was completely worn out. You can see how much looseness and play there was in it. It's all rusty inside. It should be shiny, squeaky clean and shiny and greasy, and it shouldn't have any of that looseness in it. When you put that in the vehicle and then put the wheel on, you've got a really loose wheel, and eventually when that wears enough, this will separate and the suspension comes apart, and you've got, possibility of loss of control and collision. So we're always looking at ball joints. Some of them are greasable, Drew. This one isn't, but older vehicles, they used to be greasable, and if you've had a ball joint replaced, it may have a grease fitting, or if you've got a light truck like a four-wheel drive or a three-quarter one-ton truck, many of them have grease fittings. So it varies from one car to the next, one vehicle to the next. There's another big component. This is a weight-carrying component in our suspension. This is what we call a coil-over type of suspension. So we've got the shock absorber in the middle, that's the yellow component. There's our coil spring that's actually supporting the weight on this corner of the vehicle. Over here we've got our brake flex hose, and this one's in good shape, Drew. This brake flex hose allows the high pressure brake fluid to get out to the wheel, but it also allows the wheel to steer and turn, move up and down, and as its name implies, it's flexible.
Yeah, let's take a look here, because it's moving so much, there's wear and tear, and this is the spot where it's going to be happening, right?
Yeah, this is a fabric reinforced hose. You can actually see the fabric right there, and because this bracket increases the flexing of it right at that area, it breaks down and has to be replaced, and that's an important safety item.
And what I'm taking away from this is if we're hitting potholes, like we were talking about the ball joints, we were talking about these flex hoses, it's not going to be one thing that's going to be really, really bad. It's going to be a whole bunch of little things that are going to add up to make maybe some significant negative things happen.
Yeah, you did a great little segment earlier on the tie rod end, but there's another component that doesn't have a grease fitting on modern cars, used to years ago. So that little bit of grease that's in there from the factory, when it gets washed out by all the slush and slop on the roads and that hammering action of going over potholes and rough roads, eventually when that lubricant gets washed out of there, then it gets all rusty and it wears out. So we're looking for any signs of looseness in this. Now if the vehicle did have a grease fitting, we'd put a grease gun on it and we'd grease it. This vehicle here, if your camera guy goes in there, you can actually see a grease fitting right there on this stabilizer link right there.
Oh yeah.
So that's a grease point. You can actually see that it's kind of wet and dark and greasy here from lubricant that flows through that joint. But it's that lubricant that keeps the water out, gives it the lubrication so it doesn't wear out, and when the water and road salt and grit get in there from winter driving, we've got to look at that, and this is the perfect time of the year to do that inspection.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah. Just before I let you go, Bill, one last thing is, now that I know there's a lot of things to be checking out there, what's the best way to make sure I'm good to go?
Well, Super Auto Centers have got a great special on right now. For $9.95, they'll do a complete inspection of the car. They'll look at your cooling system, they'll check the belts and hoses, they'll rotate the tires, and they'll do that brake and front end inspection that we just ran through there, a more comprehensive one, of course. Look at all the brake pads, the rotors, everything in the brake system, and they'll report to you on any issues that you've got that relate to alignment problems, tire wear, and safety issues that, if you've got some of these parts worn out in your car, you could be having a car that's, on the brink of being an unsafe vehicle, so you want to know about it.
An easy inspection for us to get done at these Super Auto Centers. Thanks a lot, Bill. Now, Jeremy, you and I were cruising down to McHappy Day yesterday, and I noticed, Courtney, your car sounded just fine, but Jeremy, when we were in the Dodge Caravan, it was just really noisy inside. Did you get that road noise in there?
Yeah, I do hear the road noise. It's mostly kids' toys bouncing from front to back and front to back.
See, and that's where you're misdiagnosing. If you were a little more educated in the world of automotives, you would probably know that it's probably your suspension bushing. Because sorry, what year's your Dodge Caravan?
Yeah, Dodge Caravan, it's a 2005.
2005. Okay, so if it's an 05, I would only have 2 of these suspension bushings in there. But this is this is the thing that's going to make your ride quieter. So this is the thing that sort of picks up that impact, reduces that road noise, and yours probably looks a little more like this. The rubber is worn, it's not fitting in there right. So that's probably what you need to get taken care of sooner rather than later.
Wow, look at this guy.
And you know he's a real mechanic because he just had a manicure yesterday when he holds up those things. Thank you very much, Drew.
My name is on my shirt. That means I know what I'm talking about when it comes to car stuff, okay?
He's official.
It goes to show you how smart Bill Gardiner is, because Drew's been there for what, like an hour and 45 minutes now, and Drew's already an expert.
How much would you pay to have Bill's knowledge?
Oh,
if you could fix your own car. It's like cars and computers are the things that if you could fix it yourself, you'd never really have like a big problem.
No.
Those are really expensive, annoying problems to have.
Bill knows his stuff. He knows your car better than you know your car.